Here are the 5 most important things you need to know as an early stage startup trying to fundraise. If you fail to understand these things, you are destined to fail. In case we haven't met before, my name is Chris Bruce, and I have been on the founding team of 5 venture-backed startups. Not to mention, I've helped countless of other startups with fundraising, development, product launch, and scale. I've raised over $55 million in pre-seed, seed, and Series A financing. Along the way, I've made a ton of mistakes and learned lots of valuable lessons. I am sharing my experiences with you so that you can improve the chances of success for your startup. Today, we'll cover an introduction of the 5 most important things you need to know. And in future videos, we'll dive deep into each of these areas so that you can learn more about them. Number 1, ideas are worthless. Execution is everything. Investors are looking for marketable ideas, sure. However, they're looking for teams that can actually execute and bring those ideas to market. Chances are, if you're an early stage startup, you have not found product market fit, you're still developing your product, and there's no guarantee that the idea that you have today is going to be the idea that makes you successful. So having a team that can execute is the most important thing that you can do as an early stage startup. Number 2, it's important to think of your pitch and pitch deck as a very concise business plan. 20 years ago, you needed a business plan in order to start a business, but today what you need to be able to do is clearly and articulately communicate your vision, your traction, your idea, your plan to get to market and generate revenue. This can all be done in a simple pitch deck with a good pitch. Number 3, it's all about showing traction. Sure, you're probably a very early stage startup. Maybe your product isn't to market yet. Maybe you don't even have a great demo. However, there's lots of points in your presentation where you can show traction. For example, maybe you have a very well-known developer on your team that came from a FANG company making lots of money, but it's taking a pay cut and a chance to build a product that they believe in. That's something that shows traction. Maybe you have 10,000 beta signups, people waiting. That shows traction. Your goal in your pitch and your pitch deck is to show traction because this is the first time an investor is going to see you, hear about you, know about you, and they're looking for any indicator that you are progressing towards bringing a product to market that can generate revenue. Number 4, pitch deck structure. Just like Hollywood has a set formula for building scripts, you too have a set structure for building a pitch deck. The goal here is to be very concise and detailed and follow this simple structure. The first slide in your deck should be a title slide. It should include a tagline that is the elevator pitch or the high-level concept of your business. So when you send this to investors via email before you meet with them, they start to get some sort of context of what you're trying to do. The next slide I like to do is a team slide. Many times when you're actually pitching to investors and you're meeting them the first time, about this time of your pitch, you're going to start to do introductions, so it's a natural fit. The number 3 slide I tend to do is a high-level teaser of the market. The idea here is to show that you have a big market, and it kind of starts to set the context for what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. After the market teaser slide, your next slide is about the problem. For example, if your market teaser slide says 4.3 million babies are born each year, your problem slide could say something like, every night parents worry. The idea here is to start to tie in the market opportunity or the market size with the problem. Now, after your problem slide, the next slide is your solution. If you have a demo, it's a great time to start the demo and show the product and let investors get their hands on it. If you are too early for a demo, you may have some additional slides here that are talking about what you're trying to do and how users may use your product. After your solution slide, the next slide is you want to talk about your business model and pricing. Still may be early. You can still put the caveat there that it's too early to tell, but these are starting to communicate your initial assumptions about how you're going to make revenue. Here, you'll put your marketing slide, which goes into a little bit more detail. You want to focus on your total addressable market as well as your service addressable market. The next slide is a competition. It's important to show that you are filling a gap in the marketplace. There is absolutely going to be some competitor. It's very rare, if near impossible, that you are in a business that has no competition whatsoever. In fact, I think if you went and presented to investors that you had no competition, they might not take you very seriously. So go out there, figure out who your competitors are. A lot of times we use a SWOT chart to show where we fall in terms of our competitors. And the goal here really is to show how you differentiate yourself from your competitors. After the competitor slide, the next slide I like to show is the traction slide. Hopefully, even though you may be early, you have some email signups or you have something that shows that you have interest. If you don't, then skip this slide. But if you do, it's important to show that you are actually getting some traction and you're starting to prove out the product market fit. The next slide is your financials. You want to show what your burn rate is, what you're expecting your finances to look like after you get funding and continue forward. Also, if you can incorporate your business model, if you have enough information, you can show how your revenue may be affected. Again, these are based on assumptions, so whatever you put here, it's important to maybe have something in the appendix that shows how you derived those numbers. And rounding out the slides, the next slide you're going to have is the ask. It's important that investors know what you're asking for, how much you're asking, how much funding you've raised to date, what your valuation is, etc. And then you can finish it up at the end with a thank you slide that has your contact information. Some investors may insist on other slides. We can talk more about that in the next video when I deep dive into creating your pitch deck. Keep in mind that the order can also change. It really just depends. Number 5, what is your pitch deck communicating about you? There's a lot of context, a lot of subtext that can be communicated via your pitch deck. If your design is sloppy, your branding is off, it's going to show that maybe you don't care about the product, maybe you don't care about the business. So it's important that you spend a lot of time making sure that your brand is there, making sure there's no spelling errors, making sure that your deck is well designed by a professional. The bar certainly has been raised over the years. So coming in with just a slap together pitch deck is just not going to work. So make sure that you spend time thinking about how your pitch deck is communicating and what it says about you. It's very important, even after you fundraise, to have a great pitch deck, because oftentimes this is what you're going to use to recruit people. You're going to use this to show early customers some information about your company. And so it's important that it's well designed and communicates effectively. Remember that ultimately your pitch and pitch deck is communicating your vision. It's communicating what you understand about the market, where you're trying to go, and what you're trying to build. So you want to make sure you put a lot of effort into communicating this. And as a bonus, number 6, passion. Investors are looking for people that are passionate about the product that they're building, the space that they're involved in. They're looking for people that have been experts in this area. It goes a long way. If you're a first-time founder, that passion is what's going to help you stick through all the tough times that you're certainly 100% going to face. My recommendation, if you're not a seasoned entrepreneur, is to stick with something that is very personal to you. It's scratching your own itch. It's something that you understand a lot about. It's going to make you much more effective at building a company around that than chasing some trend and trying to make profit off of something that you don't really care about. If you would like to see more content like this for startups, please like and follow. Thank you.